Hey guys, Filmsuit here. So, recently I watched this movie on DVD called Friends with Kids. It was in theaters a few months ago. It came out in March, I believe, but it wasn't in theaters very long. It's an independent romantic comedy that focuses on three couples, and it's pretty interesting to watch considering a majority of the cast are the principal cast members of last year's hit comedy and one of my top 10 favorite movies last year, Bridesmaids. And so you have Kristen Wiig and John Hamm as a sex-crazed couple who pretty much have sex any chance they get. You have Chris O'Dowd and Maya Rudolph as a very neutral and happy couple. And then you have Parks and Recreation's Adam Scott and Kissing Jessica Stein's Jennifer Westfeldt, who's also John Hamm's life partner in real life, as platonic friends. So the movie mainly focuses on Adam Scott's character and Jennifer Westfeldt's character. So so it focuses on them, and over the next 3 years or so, they watch Chris O'Dowd and Maya Rudolph's characters have two kids together, and even though they are incredibly high-strung with these parental responsibilities, they still manage to make their relationship work despite it being a very painful scene. And they also watch John Hamm and Kristen Wiig's characters have kids, but their marriage is falling apart because they realize that they were never in love, that they just had lust for each other. And so they decide, Jennifer Westfeldt and Adam Scott's characters, they decide to have a kid with no strings attached. And so the movie it spans over the next 2 years or so as their son Joe grows older, and Adam Scott pursues a relationship with an attractive actress who doesn't like kids, played by Megan Fox. And so yeah, he pursues a relationship with her that's very odd, and then Jennifer Westfeldt pursues a relationship with a guy named I forget his name, but it's played by Edward Burns, and he's a very nice and very level-headed guy, one of the few level-headed characters in this movie, and he's very understanding and supportive of the situation, very friendly, and he even likes kids because he has two of his own. So Jennifer Westfeldt finds the perfect guy for herself, while Adam Scott finds kind of a foiled or flawed it's a better word, flawed relationship with Megan Fox's character. So yeah, the movie goes on, and you can kind of tell where it's going. That basically it's gonna, spoiler alert, it's gonna end up with the cliche ending of the platonic friends realizing that they had feelings for each other the whole time, and that they end up happily ever after. But despite the cliche ending, I was really thoroughly enjoying this movie for a good portion of it. Probably, I enjoyed it up until the final act. I mean, it was funny the way that they ended up together and what Adam Scott says to Jennifer Westfeldt before they finally embrace each other. It was hilarious. I haven't heard anything like that in a romantic comedy other than the third act in Zack and Mary Make a Porno. But no, this movie was great. Like, it was very awkward, and it realistically captures the challenges of being married and having kids in terms of having to clean up after your kid's mess, whether that be a messy diaper or just an accident of some sort. And it also captures how the lack of sex in a parent's sex lives when they have kids. And yeah, it really captures all ends, and each couple represents that. Like, Adam Scott and Jennifer Westfeldt represent the what it's like to be separated, or friends who have kids, while Maya Rudolph and Chris O'Dowd represent a couple that actually work their asses off to try to have a stable marriage and provide their kids with anything and everything they need. And John Hamm and Kristen Wiig definitely represent a couple whose marriage is over and because of the stress and responsibilities to having kids. And yeah, this movie does a really good job capturing all the flaws in both a very comical and dramatic way. I mean, it's a very painful movie to watch, but at the same time, there are so many funny moments and funny one-liners. Like, I think I may have enjoyed this movie more than Knocked Up in certain ways. And I would say the scene definitely worth watching this movie for is, and I'm not saying this because of my man crush on John Hamm here. I'm saying it because it's one of the best parts of the movie because it's both very dramatic and very funny at the same time. But basically, what happens is everyone goes up to the mountains for New Year's at this cabin, and this also includes Edward Burns, who's dating Jennifer Westphal at this point, and Megan Fox, who's dating Adam Scott at this point, and they all have their kids with them. But at the New Year's Eve dinner, they get into a very deep and sort of like principle-based conversation on living life and having kids, and everyone gives in their opinion on this, and also on Adam Scott and Jennifer Westphal. Like, Megan Fox gives her opinion how she doesn't want to have kids because it interferes with her freedom. Edward Burns chips in his opinion and says that even though he respects Jennifer Westphal and Adam Scott's relationship and ability to raise their kid on this friendship, that they're going to have to think about in the future how to explain to their son their situation. And finally, the whole conversation blows up when John Hamm gets incredibly drunk and insults Adam Scott and Jennifer Westphal for being very unrealistic, and calls them stupid, among many other things, and saying that they didn't have a clue what it was like to have this kid and how that's just going to destroy them, like it did his marriage with Kristen Wiig, to which Adam Scott defends Jennifer Westphal and addresses John Hamm, while Kristen Wiig is just sitting there rolling her eyes and just is a mess, and Maya Rudolph and Chris O'Dowd try to control the situation. Yeah, definitely one of the best emotional scenes I've seen in a comedy since George Clooney takes his kids to see their grandparents in The Descendants last year. And like I said, this movie is very solid. I would have definitely given this movie a 5 out of 5 or a 4.5, but due to the last 10 minutes being very cliche and predictable, and or even earlier than that, where you could see, where obviously this movie's going, I give it a 4 out of 5, but I definitely recommend watching this, especially if you are fans of John Hamm, Adam Scott, Kristen Wiig, Maya Rudolph, Chris O'Dowd, or Jennifer Westphal. If you guys saw her directorial debut, Kissing Jessica Stein, yeah, I strongly recommend it for people who love comedies or dramas, or just like I said, the cast. So yeah, I going on hiatus again for a couple weeks, but tune in 2 weeks from now. I will be reviewing the new gangster movie Lawless with Shia LaBeouf and Guy Pearce, and I'll also be reviewing the NC-17 rated crime thriller with Matthew McConaughey called Killer Joe, which is coming to Portland theaters soon.